today, one of your stations is probability vocabulary foldable. And then after that, you can play a game. This video is going to help you fill in your foldable. First thing you need to do is take this foldable and fold in on the black lines so that the words probability, theoretical probability, experimental probability, and impossible, unlikely, equally likely as unlikely, likely, and certain appear on the top of the foldable. Then, on the inside of the foldable, this will appear. This is the piece we're going to fill in with our notes. Once you've folded your foldable, you will then glue in the back of the foldable. So you will fold it on the dark lines and then glue this space into your OMG. After you have glued it into the OMG, you will then cut on all the dotted lines. So you're going to make a slit here, a slit here, and then on this side, 4 slits. One slit here, one slit here, one slit right here, and one slit right here. So pause the video as you glue in your OMG. Okay. At this point, everything should be glued into your OMG. We're going to start talking about the different types of probability along our number line. The impossible, the unlikely, equally likely as unlikely, likely, and certain. Notice there's a percentage attached to each one. So let's first talk about impossible. So some examples, so open up your impossible flap. Some examples of impossible, we're going to do 3 for each of these, is going to be in real life. So in real life, an impossible probability would be that you will grow another nose. On a number cube, an impossible probability is that you will roll a 10. There's no 10 on a number cube, so you cannot roll a 10. On picking a tile out of the bag, when we do these probabilities, we're talking about this bag over here, where there's 1 green tile, 2 red tiles, 3 yellow tiles, and 6 blue tiles. So the probability of picking a tile out of that bag that is purple is impossible because there's no purple tiles. Next, we're going to talk about the next kind of probability. So you're going to open up your unlikely, which has a 25% chance of occurring. And we'll talk about the 3 examples of an unlikely probability. Unlikely, I will click on these again. An unlikely probability in real life would be that you buy a lottery ticket and win. It's not very likely, but it could happen. On rolling a number cube, it would be rolling a 1 or a 6, would have a 1/4 chance. About 1/4 chance. Picking a tile out of the bag, if you were to select a yellow tile from this bag, there's 3 yellows, okay, out of 12 total tiles, so that would give you a 1/4 probability. The next kind of probability, and I'm not going to flip back every single time, is it's as likely as it's unlikely. So it has a 50-50 chance of occurring, or 1/2. So in real life, a 50-50 chance would be winning a coin toss. All coin tosses are 50-50. Rolling a number cube, it would be rolling a prime number. There are 3 prime numbers on a number cube. The numbers 2, number 3, and the number 5 are all prime. So there's a 50% chance of rolling a prime number. And back to our bag, selecting a red or a yellow tile will give you a 50% chance. The next type of probability is a likely probability. We have about a 75% chance of it occurring, or 3/4. In real life, this would be, it will rain in April. We're pretty likely that we're going to get some rain in April. Kind of from that time. April showers bring May flowers. On a number cube, if you were to roll a number greater than 2, it gives you a 3/4 chance. I'm picking a tile out of the bag if we were to select a primary color. And then the last type is certain probability, which has a 100% chance of occurring, or a 1. In real life, this would be you're sitting in math class learning about probability. Rolling a number cube, if you roll a number less than 7, it's a 100% chance. And picking a tile out of the bag and selecting a red, a yellow, green, or blue, which were all the different tiles in the bag originally. Okay, so that's going to fill in the one side of your foldable. And if at any time you need to go back in this video or pause the video, make sure you do so. The next thing that we are going to fill in is this other half of our foldable, which talks about the specific types of probability. So we're going to define probability specifically, and then we're going to talk about theoretical probability, which is what should happen, and experimental probability, which is what actually happens. So going back to our foldable, so define probability. Probability is the likelihood that an event will occur. Okay? So probability is defined as the likelihood that an event will occur. It's usually written as a fraction, a percent, or a decimal. So it's usually written as a fraction, but can also be written as a percent or decimal. Sometimes it's easier with probability to write it as a percent when you're comparing the probabilities, but more often than not, we see it written as a fraction. The sample space is a list of all the possible outcomes. So if we went back to our tile example, the fact that it's listed 1 green, 2 red, 3 yellow, and 6 blue, those are the sample space. Those are all the possible things that could occur. A favorable outcome, sometimes called a desired outcome, is the outcome that you want to happen. So if we are flipping a coin and we want to get heads, heads would be favorable. And a trial is another name for performing an experiment. So if we're trying it out, trying to figure out what's going to happen. Okay. The next flap was theoretical probability, which is more often than not the probability that we're going to find. Because sometimes it's just too hard to run an actual simulation or an experiment. So theoretical probability, which is what should happen, like flipping a coin, just clicking these again really quick, so if you still needed to write them down, you could, right, is this part of our foldable. So right here, theoretical probability is always the number of favorable outcomes, what we want to happen, over the total possible outcomes, or the amount of our sample space. So here are some examples of a theoretical probability. So if we're flipping heads on a coin, the probability would be 1 out of 2. There's 1 heads on the coin, out of 2 heads or tails. Probability of picking hearts out of a deck of cards is 1/4. It's going to be 4 out of, it's going to be 13 out of 52, which is 1/4 of the deck. Okay, probability of rolling a 4, there's 1 4 on the dice out of 6, so it's going to be 1/6. And the probability of rolling a 7, 0 out of 6, no 7s on number cubes. So the probability of selecting a red tile from a bag with 1 green, 2 red tiles, 3 yellow tiles, and 6 blue tiles, notice there's 2 red, is going to be 2 out of 10, or 1 out of 5. Actually, we should fix this. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in our number cube. So this is an error. So we are going to go back and cut this. And we are going to go over this with white to white out the line and fix it. It's actually a 2 out of 12 probability because there's 2 red let's make our red line. It's going to be a little bit hard to read, but it's 2 out of 12, which equals 1 out of 6. All right, so hopefully there's no more mistakes on our answer key. All right. So that is theoretical probability. Go back, make sure I have the right key selected. Okay, theoretical probability. Next is experimental probability. Experimental probability is a little bit different because it's not done out of the number of favorable or the possible. It's the number of times it actually happened or occurred out of the total number of trials. You guys should remember this from when we were spinning the spinner last week. So if a coin is flipped 20 times and lands on heads 12, our probability would be 12 out of 20 or 3/5. If a card is selected from a standard deck 16 times and replaced each time, and hearts are selected 3 times, our probability is going to be 3 out of 16. If a number cubed is rolled 48 times and lands on 4 10 times, it is going to be 10 out of 48, which simplifies to 5 out of 24. If a number cube is rolled 60 times and lands on an even number 40 of the times, our probability is 40 out of 60, or 2/3. And our last example, a green tile is drawn on a bag above 8 times out of 24. So our probability would be 8 out of 24, which is equal to 1/3. Okay, if you have any questions about this and you filled in the whole entire foldable, you want to make sure to raise your hand right now so I can come over and help you. Again, if you missed anything, you can always go back. If you wanted to review this, you could watch this video before our quiz this week. Quiz is going to be on Thursday, so don't forget about it. Now that you've filled in your foldable, if you still have time in this station, you can play the game.